Connections Radio presents.
Welcome to PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media here on Vegas Hockey Hub. We have another edition of Vegas Hockey Hub Recap where we break down every single game of the 2024-2025 season. And we're going to be breaking down the most recent game that happened where the Vegas Golden Knights back at T-Mobile Arena taking on the Utah Hockey Club. And this was a fascinating game. Like, how interesting from start to finish. What an amazing end to the game. And we're going to talk about all of that here on this episode of Vegas Hockey Hub. Now, go to www.prconnectionsradio.com, the voice of new media. Check out over a dozen shows we have on the platform. And follow us on social media at Vegas Hockey Hub. And follow your host down below at Ian J. Rachiele. And your Vegas Golden Knights heading back home 7-0 heading into this game at T-Mobile Arena. To say the Vegas Golden Knights have a home ice advantage would be an understatement. What indeed? As when the Vegas Golden Knights play at home at the Fortress, it seems like there is just a different type of energy. Like, instead of having 4 gears in your car, let's get that 5th gear in there when it comes to T-Mobile Arena and the Vegas Golden Knights. And overall, with this recap and everything that's going on here, we will start out with morning skate. So speaking to multiple people like we do here on Vegas Hockey Hub, I had the privilege of speaking to a couple of people at morning skate, and we actually got the news that Brendan Bryson is sent down to Henderson. So for Brendan Bryson, he played in the previous game against LA on the 4th line, but with his performance, he has now been optioned. He has been sent down to the AHL. He'll be on that first line with the Silver Knights. He'll probably be on there with Diansenko out there in Henderson. But yeah, Brendan Bryson, it's been about 11 games into the season, and he is now back in the AHL. Was originally going to be in the AHL to begin the year before some injuries ended up happening. So Brendan Bryson back in the AHL. But good news that Cole Schwindt is back in the lineup. So on line 4, Cole Schwindt is there. And then you have a defensive swap as welcome back Nicholas Hague. As Nicholas Hague back with the Vegas Golden Knights, he got injured in the game against Ottawa. Missed the past 2 games being day-to-day. So with Nicholas Hague now back into the lineup, Caden Korczak steps out. So for the Vegas Golden Knights, very interesting there. Caden Korczak had a few good games, actually, a solid production alongside Brayden McNabb. So Nicholas Hague back in the starting lineup. Good to see him back. But the most interesting note, and when this was fascinating to hear, Ilya Samsonov, he is apparently sore from the previous game against LA. So due to soreness, Ilya Samsonov would not be the backup goaltender in this game against Utah. So earlier in the morning, Akira Schmid, the goaltender they acquired from New Jersey in the Paul Cotter trade, he is now on the main roster in the NHL to back up Adin Hill. Now, depending on if there's any long-term situation with Ilya Samsonov, where it'd be interesting to see Akira Schmid make his Vegas Golden Knights debut, or will this be a Isaiah Seville, Yuri Patera situation where if a goalie gets hurt short-term, they get called up for a few games to be a backup, they never play, and they get sent right back down. So we'll be curious to see what happens there. But interesting enough, Akira Schmid, who's been in Henderson to begin the year, he is now on the main roster, backing up Adin Hill. Speaking of which, Adin Hill, coming off that shutout against the Calgary Flames, would be in net for Vegas. And, there's some nitpicks you could do. I mean, you could critique some little stuff that happened in this game. But overall, for Adin Hill, one of the better performances we have seen on the year. This isn't like Ottawa, where he ended up, having a terrible first period and then recovering within the second and third period. Overall, Adin Hill, he did a really stand-up job in this game. So, yeah, overall, not bad. So, Adin Hill being in the net, here is your starting lineup, your forward lines, and defensive pairings for your Vegas Golden Knights against Utah. So for the forward lines, you have the first line, the best line your Vegas Golden Knights have: Ivan Barbashev, Jack Eichel, and Mark Stone. So Mark Stone, who is second in the NHL right now in points, Jack Eichel and Ivan Barbashev, who have both had incredible starts to the year in the first 11 games. Line 2, the counter-punching team that has turned into a punching team, and that is Brett Howden, Pavel Dorofeev, and Tomas Hertl in the middle. This line 2 has actually been a solid contributor the last 5 games. Forward line 3, William Karlsson up the middle, and then Alexander Holtz and Tanner Pearson on the sides. And then on forward line 4, welcome back Cole Schwindt. He was in that game against Calgary, was out of the lineup against LA. Now he is back in the lineup for the Vegas Golden Knights. He is alongside Nicholas Waugh and Keegan Kolesar. And defensive pairings, the same first pairing as Noah Hannafin and Alex Pietrangelo, your 2 best defensemen on pairing 1. Welcome back Braden McNabb and Shea Theodore, as they are now teamed up together again after, having a couple of games apart due to the Nicholas Hague injury. And then with Nicholas Hague coming back, he is now reunited with his longtime pairing mate in Zach Whitecloud. And then I already mentioned that Aiden Hill is in net. So starting out this game, how fascinating it was, because it was a penalty fest in the first period, as Jack McBain had a tripping penalty, went to the penalty box for Utah Vegas Golden Knights on the power play, and they just did not connect. It looked like Pavel Dorofeev might have his second power play goal in a row, as he had one against the LA Kings. It did not connect, just went wide, stayed a 0-0 game. And then towards the end of the first period, let's get ready to, you already know the expression, I don't want to get sued, but let's get ready to fight, as Keegan Kolesar, for the second game in a row, fought Jack McBain. So yeah, Keegan Kolesar, second game, second fight in a row. So very interesting. Keegan Kolesar, the first 10 games of the year, 0 fights. The last 2 games, 2 fights back-to-back. So for Keegan Kolesar, very interesting there. And at the end of the first period, Logan Cooley for the Utah Hockey Club, he would score on a Mark Stone turnover. Jack McBain with the assist, and Nick Buttigieg. Nick Bjugstad would make it a 1-0 game for the Utah Hockey Club. So Logan Cooley, Jack McBain, and Nick Bjugstad. So it would be a 1-0 game for the Utah Hockey Club. And at the end, the Vegas Golden Knights, heading into intermission, would be down 1-0 at T-Mobile Arena. Now, we have seen this at the 24-25 season, them being down at the end of the first period. But what we remember, and it's a famous quote, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And in the second period, the Vegas Golden Knights, they would start out on a downer, actually, as Ian Cole would score his first goal of the season for the Utah Hockey Club. Logan Cooley with his second point on the night, first assist, and Clayton Keller, their team captain, with an assist. So just like that, the Utah Hockey Club up 2-0 against the Vegas Golden Knights. And overall, you look at what Utah did in the first, 30, 35 minutes of the game, and it seemed like they were really in control. They were kind of calm and collective. But with about 5 minutes left in the second period, the Vegas Golden Knights, they would be coming right back, as the Pavel Dorofeev would score his 7th goal of the season, 3 goals in the last 2 games, assisted by Tomas Hertl and Brett Howden. And that would be a 2-1 game for Vegas. So just like that, the second line would step up for the Vegas Golden Knights. So yeah, that second line, and of course they would show up later in the game. But for the second line to have Pavel Dorofeev have 3 goals in the last 2 games, we're seeing the breakout performance from a guy like Pavel Dorofeev. And then with about 5 seconds left in the second period, the time is coming down. Keegan Kolesar over to Nicholas Waugh, back to Noah Hannafin, and Noah Hannafin would score for the Vegas Golden Knights. So his first goal of the season for Noah Hannafin, and then Kolesar and Waugh with the assist. And that would be the start for Noah Hannafin, as he would be very impactful later on in this game. But yeah, Noah Hannafin, first goal of the season, and that would put the Vegas Golden Knights at a tie hockey game at the end of the second period. So 2-2 Utah and Vegas. And heading into the third period, there was a couple of shots that Vegas had that just did not connect. There was a Jack Eichel shot in the slot that just went over the net, and really thought they could have had a chance of scoring there. However, 5 minutes into the third period, Noah Hannafin passes over to William Karlsson, and William Karlsson, with a nice play, gets his second goal of the season. It is a 3-2 game for the Vegas Golden Knights. And it felt like for about 10 minutes, the Vegas Golden Knights were going to hold on and win this game 3-2. Unfortunately, a former Toronto Maple Leaf had to step in and score for the Utah Hockey Club, as Alexander Kerfoot would score his second goal of the season for Utah, and he would tie up the game with about 3 minutes left, and the Utah Hockey Club would head into overtime against your Vegas Golden Knights. And, when it came to the Noah Hannafin, 2 assists, he had 1 goal, 1 assist, but let's make it 2 assists, right? That second line for Vegas, they already had 1 goal on the night. Let's make it 2, no? As in overtime, your Vegas Golden Knights, Mark Stone passes over to Noah Hannafin, over to Brett Howden. He makes a nice play, a solid dangle, and with the backhand, Brett Howden wins in overtime. And just like that, after an incredible play by Brett Howden, he would score his 6th goal of the season, and Brett Howden would bring the fans home happy, 8-0 at T-Mobile Arena, and your Vegas Golden Knights pick up 2 points and a victory over the Utah Hockey Club. But yeah, Brett Howden, 6 goals on the year. Pavel Dorofeyev, 7 goals on the year. So that first line's getting a lot of attention, and rightfully so. But let's not forget, the second line has been producing around or a little bit under the pace the first line has. Mark Stone, your captain, 15 assists in 12 games. So if Mark Stone continues that pace, he is going to be around 90 assists at the end of the year. That would be absolutely incredible if he found a way to pull that off. But yeah, great ending by the Vegas Golden Knights. To see them achieve what they did in overtime is remarkable. I love what we saw from the team. And overall, it is an incredible feat to look at what the Vegas Golden Knights did and to pick up the victory and win against the Utah Hockey Club. Now, this is the first regular season meeting the Utah Hockey Club and the Vegas Golden Knights have had. They're actually going to meet later this month at the end of November, but you're going to be in Utah this time instead of being in Las Vegas. So very curious to see how the Golden Knights play at the Delta Center, or is it the Vivint Home Arena, or is it the, whatever the name is. But when it comes to Salt Lake City, very nice place. I got family there. Maybe one day I will take a trip, go to Utah and watch a Utah Hockey Club game against the Vegas Golden Knights. Man, that would be what a trip. But overall, when it comes to your Vegas Golden Knights, them picking up the victory in overtime, what a way to end this Saturday night. And it would be a 8-3-1 season record for the Vegas Golden Knights, the best record in the Pacific Division, second best record in all of the Western Conference. Winnipeg obviously having a fantastic start to the year out in the Central. And, when you study the standings with the Vegas Golden Knights, this Pacific Division is just getting crazier and crazier to look at. The LA Kings, they have had a consistent start to the year. They're racking up a decent amount of points so far. Vancouver Canucks, after having a slow start to the year, have rebounded and actually have a record around 500. Yeah, the Edmonton Oilers, who have rebounded. The Calgary Flames had such a hot start to the year. Now they're starting to cool down just a little bit. But yeah, the Pacific Division, there's like 7 teams right now that have around a dozen points in the Pacific Division. So for the Vegas Golden Knights, this has been an amazing start to the year. But let's not forget that the LA Kings, the Vancouver Canucks, and Edmonton Oilers all are around the same points right now. And everybody at this point in time is going to be jockeying for every single point. There's a reason why during 82-game season, every game matters because of points and because of seeding. We saw that last year in the playoffs. So, in the Pacific Division, LA is doing what they're doing. In the Central, Winnipeg has a few points advantage over teams like Dallas and Minnesota. But you know what? The Utah Hockey Club, let's acknowledge what they're doing. I mean, the Utah Hockey Club, look at them. They're 5-4-3. So if you look at it just from a win-loss record, oh, yeah, they've lost 7 games. But they have scored points in 7 of their 11 games so far. So if you're the Utah Hockey Club, you really have to look at it and go, you know what? If we keep accumulating points, they might be a fringe playoff team when everything is said and done. Because like I said, they've been gaining a lot of points thanks to overtime losses. They're already on their 3rd overtime loss of the year. Granted, I think that is either tied or leads the NHL in overtime losses as of this recording. So overall, for the Vegas Golden Knights, really solid start to the year. First 12 games of the season are in the books. Now, let me give you a disclaimer. The next game is against Edmonton on November 6th. So we have about a 4-day window where the Vegas Golden Knights are not playing. They really don't have any morning skate. They're going to have one on Sunday, but then Monday, they're not going to have one. So if you're the Vegas Golden Knights, you have that break before you start that long road trip. And I alluded to it in the last episode. But your Vegas Golden Knights are going to be on 9 of 11 games on a road trip. So for the remainder of November, they're going to play 9 road games out of 11 games for the rest of the month. And if you're the Vegas Golden Knights, you really have to sit there and look at what their road trips have been so far. You're 0-3-1 on the road. You're 8-0 at home. So if you're going to play 9 road games in the next 11, you're going to have to start racking up those wins on the road. And there's going to be some competitive teams that you're going to be playing on the road for sure. I understand that you're going to go up against teams like Toronto. You're going to go up against teams like Carolina, like Tampa Bay. You're going to go up against organizations like, for example, a team like Edmonton, who's a division rival. But the Vegas Golden Knights, this 9-game road trip for the remainder of November is going to be vital and key to the Vegas Golden Knights. It's really going to show you the endurance and, more importantly, why it's going to show to the Vegas Golden Knights. Can they win on the road? Because so far in the month of October, they went winless on the road. So while you're perfect at home, and that's amazing, all right, it's incredible to be 8-0 at home, you're going to have to start racking up wins on the road. And since we have about 90 seconds left, I want to get to player of the game, and it has to be the overtime winner in Brett Howden. Brett Howden, not only did he have a vital part in the game at the beginning of it, but that overtime winner, that dangle, the way that he deked out the defenseman and made his move, you have to give a lot of credit to Brett Howden in this game for what he did, not only for the assist early on, but that goal as well. Also on the stat sheet, Brett Howden, he did have 2 block shots in this game. So overall, for the Vegas Golden Knights, this is an incredible victory against Utah, and they have remained undefeated 8-0 at T-Mobile Arena to start the 24-25 season. So until that game against Edmonton, this is Vegas Hockey Hub. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. We are doing all 82 games. This is the second season in a row we're doing this of Vegas Hockey Hub recap show. And until next time, I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. Follow us on social media at Vegas Hockey Hub. Go to the website, www.Vegas Hockey Hub, as we're going to be uploading content like articles and pieces on there. And follow us on social media at Ian J. Rachiele. So until next time, go Knights, go.